What's up, YouTube people? Welcome back to my channel. I'm organizing my books today, and while I do that, I want to talk about all the books I read this month. Oh, you're probably wondering why I don't have a bookshelf, and that's because there's no room in my room, and I'm not buying any furniture until I move out. So yeah, no bookshelves, so I have book stacks. So that's what we're working with. Okay, let's start with the books. I read 10 books this month. Yeah, 10. And most of them were okay. Some of them I was like, ugh. The first book I read was Ryan Renewed, and it's actually, that was the 5th book in a series. And I have no words for that book, honestly. That was one of the worst books I read ever. It's not the worst book, but it's up there. Okay, so it's the 5th book, and it's about this girl Jessie and the Ryan brothers. And oh my gosh, it's reverse harem. So it's the one girl and then the 4 guys, but they're brothers. And yes, they're doing it at the same time, and oh my gosh, I could not believe that was a book I read. I don't even know what made me pick that book, honestly. It just popped up as like a recommendation, but why was that recommended to me? I never read a book like that. Like, yes, I read Reverse Harem, but not that stuff. Like, at least the Reverse Harem I read was decent. There was no plot in that story, and I was disgusted, honestly. It was just 90% smut with 10% mafia. Like, smut, mafia drama. Smut. Like, that was it. That was the plot. So I really can't say much, but I was disgusted at the fact that they were siblings, all related. There was a set of twins. Oh my gosh. That book, a hot mess. Okay, so the second book, moving on. The second book I read was a rockstar romance. It's called Founded on Goodbye, and it's about a rock star and his background dancer. So she was hired as a dancer, but she had ulterior motives, and like she was really hired to be his fake girlfriend, like kind of seduce him, make him like her, and then break his heart so that he could write good songs again. And that was an okay book. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best rockstar romance book I read. So I think that's a 3.5 star book in my opinion. Oh, and the couple's name was Nash and Nora, and they had cute moments. It was an okay book. Okay, so the third book I read was Heart Recaptured, and that was a tough read, honestly. It was really triggering. So trigger warnings because it's a dark romance, but it was good. I enjoyed the book. I want to say it's about Kai and Leela, and it was the second book in the series. So Leela came from this religious cult. So crazy story from her, and it's how she's like dealing with that trauma. She was like learning that they like lied to her a lot about their religious beliefs, like, and what's really in the Bible, stuff like that. So she was coming to terms with that, and while doing so, she's staying at this motorcycle club place, like, 'cause that's what Kai's in. So yeah, that's what she went through. So motorcycle romance slash dark romance because of the church cult drama. And then the third book I read was the third book in that series about Leela's sister Maddie, and her love interest. And that book is called, I lied, that wasn't the third book I read. That was the fourth book I read. Yeah, brain fart. That was called, what's it called? Souls Unfractured. That's Maddie and Flame. And again, it follows the cult drama and dark romance yet again. The only issue I had with those two books, honestly, all the books in that series so far, there's like 5 more books in that series, was the language they had towards the women. It was like low-key disrespectful. But other than that, it was like a good read, just really heavy themes, and because yeah, it was a dark romance. I'm organizing these books so that the ones I want to read for next month are on top. Okay, the 5th book I read was what was the 5th book I read? Sunny Disposition? Yeah, Sunny Disposition. That was the 5th book. And that was about brain fart. Naomi and Finn. Yep. Naomi and Finn. So I remember I was like, I don't like that name Finn. And that was because I just watched Glee, so that I didn't really like that name Finn. So that's all I was thinking while I was reading a book. But okay, what is that about? Sunny Disposition was what was it? It's a college romance, and I want to say he played hockey. He played some sport. Yeah, it was hockey. It's hockey. So Naomi and Finn, they knew each other online because they would like chat in the video games they played, stuff like that. But they never met, and on the night they were like supposed to meet, he had gotten into an accident and lost his memory. And so like he forgot. They never met up, and they never met each other, obviously. So like continued on to like the next school year. They ended up becoming roommates, but they had no idea like who the other person really was. So it was that type of romance, and it was cute. It was, so like I said, it was college romance, hockey romance, and then what's the other trope? Oh, Grumpy Sunshine, because he was really grumpy. So that was that. And then the next book I read was Taken by a Sinner. And that also was an okay book. It was a mafia book. It was my first, I want to say it was a Greek mafia. Yeah, Greek. Because his name was like Nicholas. Yeah, it was Greek. Okay, so that book was about Nicholas and Tess, and they were step siblings. Like, her mom just married his dad, and that was like how they met. And he was like trying to fight his attraction to her, but he couldn't really fight it. So they had ended up getting together. Then he tried to like make her marry someone else. And then the funny part was like right before she was about to marry this other guy, he did a whole switcheroo and he ended up being a groom. I thought that was so funny and so cute because like, yes, get her, get your girl, you know you want her. And it was a good mafia read. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. So 3.5 stars, I think. I need to like work on a rating system. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna work on a rating system, and I'm about to start a book journal where I want to document all the books I read and put my thoughts in them and then rate them in there. Because on Goodreads, I like I just be pressing stuff, but there's no like half stars on Goodreads, so that's annoying. They need to do that. Okay, the next book I read was what was it? Her Majesty, and it wasn't even a book, honestly. It was a novella. It was 60 pages. Check that out. Yeah, it was 60 pages, but it was so good. Honestly, that novella was probably like, I'm gonna say that was the second best book I read this month. It's about Josiah and this girl, what's her name? Her name is Majesty. Yeah, it's in the title. Josiah and Majesty, and they weren't a couple, but he was trying to get her back. Like, they had broke up before the book started, and he was trying to get her back, and that's what the book's about. And even though it was short, it was so good, and it was like some of the scenes were, ooh, pour water on me right now. It was hot. They were hot. I loved it. Like, he groveled for her. And then the funny part about the book was there was a scene where she like went on a date with someone else, and he chased her date away. Not chased her away, I'm lying. He dragged her from her date. So yeah. He said, "You're not about to be going out with someone else." Dragged her out the restaurant. I was like, yes, get your girl. Okay, and then the next book I read was a single mom romance. Yeah, it was called 1% of You, and her name's like weird, I think. What's her name? I think it's like Hadley. Yeah, Hadley, and his name's Elijah, and she's a single mom. Throughout the book, she was like, it's like two parts. Like, she was currently pregnant and had a daughter, and then she like had the baby in the book. So like that. But yeah, she was a single mom. She got her ex cheating on her, so that's why they didn't work out. And then the guy Elijah, he met her daughter in a store, and he like scared her and then took her chips because they had a little run-in. And then after that happened, they realized they were neighbors. And it was just, their story happened from there. Just little run-ins to each other until they finally like started really liking each other. And then her daughter ended up really liking him. And he was grumpy. He was a grumpy tattoo artist. And she was a sweet, hard-working mother, single mother. Her baby father sucked. Like, he sucked. Don't have kids if you're gonna have that type of baby father. He was the worst. But yeah, I thought that was a cute read. And I don't even like single mom romances like that because I don't really like kids like that. But it was cute. 3.5 stars. I'm like trying to talk about the books, but I also don't want to spoil them, so I'm not giving away too much, I don't think. I have the books I want to read next month, like off to the side, and I'm gonna put these at top. Put those books at the top. Okay, so what was I on? Talked about the single mom book. Oh, the next book I read was Silent Vows. And I read all these books on my Kindle too, by the way, because I'm on a book buying ban. Like, no more books until like March. Yeah, so like I said, Silent Vows, that was another mafia book, and I did not enjoy that book at all. Oh my gosh. And you would think I would enjoy it because it had a lot of tropes that I usually enjoy in it, but it wasn't for me. It's a mafia book. It was like Italian / Irish mafia. So like that. And it's arranged marriage. I'm gonna say it's a little age gap. And mafia romance. Those are the tropes. And she's mute. She's not really mute, but she's mute because she was scared to be mute because something happened with her father, and then she was arranged to be married to him, and he picked her because she was mute. So I'm like, what kind of stuff are you on, weirdo? Why do you want a mute wife? Like, what is wrong with you? And I don't know. I just didn't really like that book. I didn't like the plot, if there even really was one. But I didn't like it like that. Like, it was okay. It wasn't the worst book I read. Like, it wasn't the Ryan Brothers books. So it was way better than that. But it was just okay. Like, I want to say 2.5 stars. Because I just wasn't into the plot. And I didn't really like the characters. I don't think they were... No. I know. There wasn't any character development with either of those characters. And, you know, if you don't like the characters, you won't really like this book. And, okay, the last book I read was Ignite. And I messed up. I messed up so bad reading that. Because I read it out of order. That wasn't the first book of the series. But, like, it was listed on Kindle as, like, the first book of the series. And I guess it is. But it was really, how do you say it? It's like a sequel series or like continuation series, so stuff like that. So I was supposed to read about the older generation, the older series first before I read that book. Because there's like 4 books ahead of that book. So I messed up in that way. But it really is a standalone book. But there was a reference to one of the older books. And I need to read it to like really understand a reference. But it's a standalone book, and single dad trope. He's a firefighter. Yeah, firefighter. And what is she? She is... I forgot what she was. She works in like hospitality, something like that. But that's about Dex and Winifred, Winnie for short. And yeah, it's Grumpy Sunshine, single father. He has 2 daughters, and then they're neighbors. So yeah. Let's see. So Dex and Winnie, it's about them becoming neighbors and developing a relationship, obviously. But it was like friends with benefits at first. But clearly they caught feelings for each other. And her problem is, and she admits this, she has like a problem with love. Like, she's a certified lover girl for real. Like, she'll move across the entire continent to be with her love like that. She loves hard. And she was trying to work on that before she got with Dex, but that blew up in her face because she still loves hard. But it works for her. It was cute. And I thought his kids were cute, and story's cute. Story's cute. That was the best book I read this month. I will say that. So I give that 4 stars. I think I'm gonna need another stack. But yeah, that was the 10th and final book I read. So that's that. And now I need to finish the rest of my bookshelf. Book stack. Not shelf. I don't want to stack it all the way up because they might fall and I don't want that. So just stack it to a little. Okay, so that's that for now, and I have all the books I'm gonna try to read this month. Not this month because it's still January, but next month. I have some of these, so this is like 5, but then I also have these books, so let's hope I read them. And I also want to reread my favorite book. I think this is my favorite book of all time. I want to reread this. I am going to reread this. Because I feel like a book slump is coming on. And this will snap me out of it real quick. Because I know I love this book. And I'm going to put these books I want to read. I'm putting them all off to this side stack. So that I could easily get to it, you know. Okay, and the book stacks are done.